Today I'm going to be working with Jaeger on tying and also applying fly spray. Now Jaeger is well on his way to becoming a domesticated horse, but there's a few things that I want to make sure that he's solid on before going to his next home. Now earlier today I had my friend and her daughter over and they got to meet Jaeger, and this was his first time meeting a little person. He did amazing. He was really curious about her and let her brush him and really seemed to enjoy it. So that was great, but I really want to make sure that I can apply fly spray on him and also have him tied. And eventually I would love to have him tied while I apply fly spray. Now, if I was to tie him before applying fly spray, I think that would be counterproductive. I think he would pull back on that lead rope and just kind of have a freak out moment. So I want, when I'm training him for the fly spray, I want to be fully doing just that and not something else.
Is there something you want me to say, sir? You can tell me.
All right, so to begin, I start by introducing the fly spray to his shoulder. And I'm quickly doing one spray and then pulling it back before he moves away. Right here, he gives a big sigh, so I give him a longer break. I'm really trying to show him that I'm going to be removing it from him and he doesn't need to move away from it. I'm trying to be predictable. He's going to start recognizing that I'm going to spray him and then immediately take it away so he doesn't feel the urge to move away from me. I'm now starting to drift a little bit and get his legs and neck and just explore some new locations. I have to admit, I'm a little surprised he hasn't taken a single step away from me. Normally I expect to be traveling a bit, which is why I don't want to tie him when I'm introducing the fly spray. I want him to be able to move around if he gets nervous, but I'm trying to time this right so that I'm removing it before he feels like he has to move. Now I'm getting a little bolder and adding a few more sprays with each time that I raise the fly spray. I switch over and do the same thing on the other side. He did quite well with both sides, and I'll probably have to add this to his daily routine.
All right, now that he's not going to get eaten, let's go ahead and tie him. I use what's called a blocker tie ring. Now this tie ring, I think everyone should have. It is a little bit pricey. It was about $30. Again, it's called a blocker tie ring. Now this tie ring has a safety feature, so it allows the rope to slide through if there's an emergency situation or you're teaching the horse how to tie. It allows the horse to pull itself through and get that release and not have a big panic moment. You can also add different levels to it, so if I want to add a little bit of resistance, I can also do that. So I'm going to be using this to teach Jaeger how to tie. Now at this point in Jaeger's training, he is pretty domesticated. I have not tied him, so he's probably more than ready to tie. He comes off pressure really, really well. He seems to have a really great handle on that and doesn't really freak out when there is pressure on him. So I think he'll do just fine. We're gonna start there and see how he does. All right, so there he is. That's great. So I'm gonna leave him out here and I'm going to clean the Mustang pen and come back and see how he's doing. Actually, just come back, I'm right here. All right, so I just went in to fill my water bottle. Clearly he's done fine. I've been keeping an eye on him and he seems to be doing really well. I did bring him a strawberry.
Want that?
He loves strawberries. He loves bananas, apples, any treat.
Yeah, yummy.
So while he's tying there, I'm going to probably work with Merlin or Sparrow, whoever's easier to get next. But I did want to comment a couple of things. So, as I mentioned, I think he's very ready for tying. He's probably over-prepared. But part of the reason I did that is because I'm operating in the bounds of my facility. This tree is the most solid thing that I have to tie to. And I was a little nervous about it because it's outside of my round pen, So that's why I waited until he was out and electric, and he's like, so he's very not wild. He's very chill, relaxed, and I didn't think that he would have any freak out moments while being tied up. So I really wanted to over prepare him, and if for whatever reason he did freak out and got loose, because that will pull right out, he's in his electric fence, which isn't on, but he respects it right at this point. So I just wanted to make sure that I don't lose him in the process of teaching him to tie. Ideally, I would have a great big barn, and I would have a wall that's fenced in with my panels, 6-foot panels, and I don't have that. So I'm just operating with what I have, which is my tree and my blocker tie and my electric fence and my mostly trained horse. So that's why I've done things in this order. He probably could have been tied much earlier, but I'm fine with how this worked out. So anyway, I'm gonna go work train a horse, and Jaeger will just hang out here a little longer. Yeah, you're doing great. You're doing great. All right, so it's now been an hour, and he's done a really good job. Really good. And I was going to end there, but I decided to do some ground driving. So I'm going to throw my stuff on him and get to that. Now, if I had planned this out in my head, I would have ended. A lot of people like to end with tying as kind of like a moment of relaxation after working. Again, I was going to end now, but why not do some ground driving? This is the first time you've seen him do some ground driving. He's not very good just yet, but this is probably his second. I can't remember if I've done it 1 or 2 times before. It might have just been once, but it's kind of a pain to film unless I have someone with me, which I didn't. Right now we're just attaching the lines to his halter, but yeah, let's go ahead. It's been a little bit, so we'll let him sniff it. All good? Perfect. Just do this a couple times. And yeah, he's a little nervous. That reaction, there we go, is like the biggest reaction that I've seen from him. All right.
If I just put this on you?
I am being a little bit cautious as I'm putting this on. Just trying to not do it too quickly. But he's doing pretty good. All right, I can tighten it once on this side. Good job, sir. Perfect. Excellent, let's get started. Just being real here, my first time ground driving was teaching Libby and Britta how to do it. So I'm not very good. So if I look like a hot mess, that's why.
As I mentioned before, I believe that this is his second day of ground driving. He did really well on his first day. The hardest part was getting him comfortable with me walking behind him. That's just an unusual spot for me to be. I asked him to go by saying walk on and then clucking and then tapping his sides with my reins. Every time I get to ground driving, I kick myself for not using more voice commands earlier, such as the walk-on cue when I'm teaching him how to lead. Him knowing that command prior to this would have been a little helpful. Anyway, don't take advice from me. I'm clearly a newbie at this, but I'm all about breaking the process into manageable steps. That being said, I'm not concerned about how slowly he's moving forward, or even if he's drifting off to the side a bit. As long as he's moving forward, I'm happy. I'll start to focus more on those areas after he really masters the moving forward piece. I know when I'm learning something new, it's difficult to keep all these different parts in mind. Do this, do that, don't do this, do that. And I think it's probably difficult for the horse as well, so breaking it down is helpful. I think working with Mustangs has really taught me to have realistic expectations. When my expectations are too high, I'm really just setting myself and the horse up for failure. So breaking it down into smaller, more reasonable steps can really help with the learning process.
All right, guys, today's session went so well. He did a really good job tying and ground driving and with fly spray. So he's really really coming along. So if you want to adopt him, he will steal your heart for sure. No, but seriously, if you want to adopt him, go to www.projectequestrian.com. You'll see his ad there, fill out the adoption inquiry, and I'll be in touch with you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in another video. Bye.